Just to let you know, we do have monthly events scheduled here. It is in our calendar. We're always letting you know that with the newsletters that you hopefully get. Sometimes if you're not getting them, please look in your spam or trash folder. It comes from, I'm going to hand out a couple of my cards. It comes from bavardauthorssociety.1@gmail. So that may go into your trash or into your spam. So if you're not getting the newsletter, look there before you try to contact me. So at any rate, we're always letting you know. We do have Brian Freeman coming up next month. The Kid Kolsch in November. Those are events that we hold here. We also, what else do we have going on? We have Wind River. Wind River Cafe is a coffee shop down in Old Town Melbourne. And we have regular featured author once a month there. They hold a workshop, and then they also hold a book club 3 weeks later to discuss a book that they're promoting during that. Let's see, what else? We have a Lifetime Achievement Award coming up, and we'll reveal the great winner of that after the first of the year. So anyway, today we're here to talk to Julio Torres. I think he's going to talk to you a lot about some of this stuff. He's been featured in Eastern Surf Magazine and Brevard Live Magazine for his surfing thriller, I suppose. I was hoping maybe you would tell us a little bit more about your teaching, because he is a teacher in Brevard County as well. But I want to tell you the most important thing that I feel about Julio, and that is his attitude. I had an awesome opportunity to stand and talk with him at Addison Village, where we sometimes host events and workshops there as well. He was so gracious about that. We hardly had people show up, but it gave me an opportunity to get to know him. And even as he went through that experience, he was talking about how positive he felt about it. Number one, just the experience itself, the opportunity that he had to put himself out there and to let other people who may be looking at his work, and they do, know that he's willing to do whatever it takes to put himself out there as an author. So I'm very honored today to introduce Julio Torres, member of the Brevard Authors Society.
Good afternoon. An interesting incident at that event. So a male student says, "Hello, Mr. Torres, I taught him." His sister is the female AI character of one of my books. So I see Kensley's real life brother come out and say hello to me. I'm like, this is bizarre. And I'm like, remind your sister I use her characteristics as one of the characters in the book. She's an AI. So thank you for your time. Today's presentation is focusing on how to write scenes that are suspenseful. So I'm going to use scenes from all of my 4 books. One of them is a surfing thriller. The next one is an AI thriller, and then a children's illustrated series about ocean pollution, and that's also filled with thrilling scenes. So it was a lot of fun to go back to my scenes and say hello to my characters and talk to them again and say, hey, I haven't forgotten you guys and girl. So let me start off with, this is a book review in Eastern Surf Magazine. So I published this one 15 years ago, I think. So here's one of the reviews for My Twisted Summer. It was written by Nathaniel Riverhorse Nakadate. I've never been able to find them online because that's an authentic name. So I would love to say, hey, thanks for the book review, but I never found them online. So he wrote, when I was a wild and unkept ruffian looking to get my hands on anything and everything literary and surf related, there was nothing available. Which is why it's about time that someone like Central Florida educator and writer Julio Torres has cranked out a rip-roaring coming-of-age read for young surfers who might think fiction is dull. Solon and his friends connive their way into staying behind for a hurricane nailing the Cocoa Beach area, all while focusing their endeavors on the obligatory adolescent essentials of waves, first high school kisses, and food. From there, things quickly get out of control, with sharks being swept into houses, barrels, brawls, blood, and an absolutely bizarre twist of an ending that will surprise even the most open-minded reader. But that's exactly why My Twisted Summer should be at the very top of your reading list during your own summer adventures. So this was the first published book. I wrote screenplays for about 15 years. So I would go to LA and try to sell screenplays, but no one really reads a screenplay. So I'm like, I want to start being read. So I had a student named Corey who told me in my class, I've been teaching in Brevard County for 19 years. I taught 18 years in the public school system and my first year at a charter school called Imagine Schools of West Melbourne. So Corey said, why do authors spend pages describing a doorknob? Reading is boring. And that's when I thought, okay, I'm going to make a fast-paced thriller for kids like Corey, who doesn't want to read because she's not going to read a screenplay. So that's one of the book reviews. And then for my AI thriller, I entered a contest sponsored by Writer's Digest. And they give you reviews, even if you lose, which, yeah, of course, you know, I'm no one yet, so I lost. But I love one of their reviews. So they wrote, by Writer's Digest, in a few explanatory sentences, please share with the entrant, me, 1 to 3 things that you enjoyed or what readers will find compelling about this book and why. So the reviewer, I believe they're all staff for Writer's Digest. So his review, one of them, my AI thriller, Forces presents a very interesting premise. A human boy and an AI girl falling in love alongside battling a video game that wants to suck them into their world. That is very timely, given the current focus on AI. The premise is truly unique and presents many questions to the reader, such as the power of AI and virtual reality versus physical reality, and brings a new focus to the science fiction genre. This premise is helped with interesting character backgrounds, such as Kensley, coming from a well-off family, and Corbin from a tougher background. Scenes exploring the characters from the video game and their plotting also help add depth to the fascinating world the author has created. So when I read this by Writer's Digest, it made my week. All right, so the first one is My Twisted Summer, and I chose 3 to 4 scenes on what makes these scenes suspenseful. And I really focused on the setup. Before you get to the suspenseful scene, before you are anticipating. So suspenseful writing, meaning the reader is anticipating, waiting for something to happen. So anticipation starts with the setup, and then the suspenseful scene, and then you're waiting. What's going to happen? Are they going to die? Are they going to fall in love? Are they going to get that first kiss? So the first one in My Twisted Summer, a coming-of-age surfing thriller. So I want you to focus on the setup, and then what I have highlighted is the suspenseful scene. So I'm not reading everything else. I'm just focusing on what I highlighted for the suspense and then the setup. So, setup. The previous night, the boys. The book is about teenage boys staying behind during a hurricane mandatory evacuation to surf the waves. So they have to stay behind. Well, no matter what, we're not leaving, we're surfing these waves. That's the premise of My Twisted Summer. So, the previous night, the boys launched bottle rockets at a beach house out of vengeance. So their friend got into some conflict surfing with this guy named Old Snake. They knew where Old Snake lived, and as vengeance, let's shoot bottle rockets at his house at night, because that's what 15-year-old boys would do, right? So that's the setup. This is what happened the previous night. Now the suspense. The next morning, Mom and Andy ate breakfast. Lionel watched TV. I made a bowl of cereal. Mom chewed on her toast and waved me over. Here's the ticket and some money. Pay for a cab tomorrow. If they cancel the flight because of Hurricane Alice, then call me. I'll be in Orlando. The knock on the door knocked the envelope out of my hand. Mom opened it, and it was a cop. He knew about Old Snake, but how? Who saw us? I bet he had cameras. Now I'm going to have a record. Maybe it was too dark. The fingerprints, they have them from the bottle rocket. The door shut. Mom returned to the table. I stared at her. Was she messing with me, waiting for me to confess? She grabbed her fork and shoved scrambled eggs into her mouth. She chewed. Was that a cop? I asked. Yeah, just to say what we're already doing, to leave before sunset. There's a mandatory evacuation. So come with us and then fly out of Orlando. Just have your dad switch the ticket from Melbourne Airport to Orlando Airport. That's the end of the first suspenseful scene. Now this is the setup. So the next scene, setup, and then the suspense. The setup for this next scene. Their plan is in jeopardy. Suspense follows. The unknown rolls forward. How do they stay behind to surf the cane? So it starts here with a new setup. I took my cereal to my room. After opening the door, I almost tripped on Leonel's toy skateboard. Milk landed on my shirt. My plan. I did not want to go to Orlando. You can't surf in Orlando. The wind outside was over 25 miles per hour. Trees danced. Cereal entered my mouth. But all I thought about is a new plan so I wouldn't have to leave with Mom. I called Bailey and stood by the window staring at the windy sky. Countdown, man, countdown. Bailey answered, problem. My mom is making me leave tonight to Orlando. Orlando? So their plan is in jeopardy, at risk of being lost. They want to stay behind and surf. Suspense follows. The unknown rolls forward. How do they stay behind to surf the cane? All right. Moving forward, this is probably 20 pages later. A new suspenseful scene, the setup. So the setup for suspense, which has been highlighted. During the flooding, this is during the hurricane, they were able to stay behind. They got away with it. So yes, they stayed behind. They broke the law to catch waves. The setup. During the flooding, the flood shatters their window and sharks swim into the house. The house is next to the beach. The boys run upstairs to avoid the flood and black-tipped sharks bouncing off the walls and off the couch. So the setup, there are sharks in the house because they broke in through the window during the flood. The suspense starts. We could find a house with a roof and more food, I said. The waves are still going to get good. Even if we leave, let's surf the swell. You're right, Bailey said. We can tie my blade to a broom or something, then stab one of the sharks, pushing it away from the front door so we can escape. I'm not paddling out there. There could be more sharks waiting for us down the block, Roy cleverly reminded us. I ran to my bedroom window and noticed the current was pushing west down my block. The current was steady and pushing debris toward homes, cars, trash on trash. Pieces of wood from missing roofs collided against uprooted trees. Come here, I yelled. We can let the current take us into a house with a roof. We don't have to paddle at all. Our hands will be clear out of the water. Bailey thought about it, then built a grin. Got a broom somewhere? I returned with a broom and duct tape. Bailey started taping the open blade to the end of the broomstick. I'll stick him and the others should start feeding on him. We'll unlock the door and jump on our boards. I guess we can't take the honey and water with us, I shared. Bailey focused on keeping that blade tight against the broomstick. Every pull of duct tape wrapped around the blade made a noise like a crying lion in the deep jungle. Just try taking the honey. I'm sure we'll find some water in a house, Bailey planned. He raised the broom and walked forward with the blade pointing toward the door, like a bayonet. I followed behind. Roy trailed. The sharks swam into the door and back away. 3 sharks piled up in the corner, then all swam away. Bailey focused on a shark, lifted the broom with the blade taped to its end, held it in the air, moved it around, waiting for the right strike. A shark moved into the picture. Bailey struck forward and missed. Another shark swam into the picture. Bailey raised the broom, gripped it tight, and struck again. Bailey's face turned angry and accomplished. The blade went into the shark, pulling Bailey with him. Bailey held on tight, dragged the shark away from the door. Not much blood, he yelled. Turn it, twist it, dig deep into his flesh, I yelled. Bailey rotated the blade into the shark. Blood mixed with the murky water. He twisted and stuck it deeper into the shark. The other shark started to splash around the wounded shark. The door was safe from sharks. I jumped into the chest-high water and unlocked the 3 locks, opened the door, got my surfboard from Roy's arms, and made my way out of the house. I dropped the jar of honey into the flood. Roy held 2 surfboards under his arms. He exited. Bailey moved into the water and got closer to the open door. After letting go of the broom, he shut the door. Outside, the wind blew over waist-high water. We moved toward the street, lied on our boards, and allowed for the current to push us down the block, away from my house. I glanced at Roy on his surfboard. We all smiled with a cautious look. "You're bleeding," I yelled at Roy. He checked his leg, touched it, and got blood all over his hand. How did this happen? Allowing the current to take us down the block was easier than I was hoping. None of our hands ever had to touch the water to paddle. Some homes, they looked like they got hit by a tornado. Bailey sat on his surfboard and pointed to a house, still getting dragged down the block by the current. "There, it's got a roof. It's 2 floors. That will be our summer headquarters." A strong gust of wind pushed us toward the left. We collided against the front of the house and fell off our boards, forcing us to stand in waist-high water. "How do we get in?" I asked. That's the end of that suspenseful scene.
Are you a surfer?
Yes, that's why I moved here from Miami. I moved here from Miami 27 years ago to surf more. You don't really get to surf a lot in Miami. I give Miami love, but you don't surf a lot. So, the next setup. The boys know Salone needs a kiss before high school. So, the setup, the boys know the protagonist needs his first kiss before high school starts. And this is the beginning of summer. So, Roy joined us. People, look, let's go check it out. No way. What if they call the cops about a bunch of kids alone? We're going to miss it when the winds go offshore. Bailey pounded. He's right. The number one thing is to make sure we don't miss the swell when winds go offshore, I said. I'm not starting high school without catching a hurricane swell. I'm just not. Nothing will stop me from catching that wave I will never forget. You still need your first kiss before high school, too, Bailey mocked. I'll crack on Roy, but he already failed the test. Hey, don't forget that Halloween night. Roy jumped in. I got my kiss, a little late, but I got it. Roy's 16, the other 2 boys are 15 years old. So, this stays for many pages, all right? Does he get his first kiss before high school? Does it happen? So, there's a girl in the group. She's 17. Salone is 15. Salone likes her. They have spent some time alone, surfing, running from cops, sharing scarce food as the group avoids cops to say surfing. So it starts here. Roy noticed Wendy getting closer. Wendy's heading this way. Bailey started combing his hair. I think she likes me. I'm going to ask her out. My eyes went straight at Bailey. Was he serious? Roy stopped gazing at her and turned to us. Look how the sun shines off her brown hair. I'm going to invite her to a movie. Movie? I asked. Ask her out? Bailey, you could barely see. Bailey had an injury with his eyes. He ducked off his board through a jellyfish, so his eyes were damaged. So we're still with does he get his kiss or not? Many more pages later. The setup, still with the same setup from earlier, the kiss, does he get it? The group breaks into houses in search of food and water. Salone and Wendy break into this house and have a fun moment connecting. This is leading to the kiss scene. Readers wonder, remember suspense, anticipation. What's going to happen? Readers wonder, will they kiss here? First kiss for Salone? I handed her a granola bar. This should taste like $1 million, I told her. I opened the second drawer, but revealed a bunch of paper and a few manila envelopes. We both ate our food at the same time. Let's hope the wind goes offshore, she sang. Wish I had the Weather Channel, I replied. Thick nuts blended with granola, honey, and pieces of raisin spread throughout my mouth. Each bite reminded me about flavor. Instantly, my mouth wrapped its saliva around every mouthful and down into the stomach. Wendy groaned with pleasure every time she bit into the food. Give me 10 of these, delicious. I ate mine fast and continued looking for food. Are you an only child? Wendy asked. No, a little brother and then just my mom. My dad works construction in Puerto Rico. Divorced child? No, they never married. Never? But you have a brother. Mine did divorce years ago. We walked into another room and searched through the drawers and closet. Wendy jumped on the bed, lied on her back. So this is the beginning of summer. Do you work anywhere? I asked. All right. The setup. Wendy and Salome go to the river to enjoy sunset. Pages later. Wendy locked eyes with the sunset and followed the colors in the sky. A dark orange gave birth to a baby purple. So many colors, she said. Want to go check it out by the river before it's gone? I asked her. Yes, let's go, she said as she grabbed my good arm and pulled. Bailey took the loaf of bread from my hand as Wendy pulled me toward the sunset. It continues. Will he get his first kiss before high school? Is this the moment? Anticipation, suspense. On our way to the river, we gaze at the houses, wondering what possible foods are in each one. If we keep breaking into houses, it's going to feel dirty, taking people's stuff. Wendy said, yes, I know what you mean. I don't want to go to some shelter if they find me. It gets gross in there. I'd rather go hungry and surf without anyone telling me where to sleep or sharing a bathroom with 50 women. We reached the river and sat on a bench facing west. Across the river, we could see the traffic of cars. Mainland looked busy. Are you really 17? She asked me with a smile. I don't care if you lied, but I was thinking 16. My heart raced. If she realizes I'm younger, that means I have no shot. But I'm sure she'd rather have me tell the truth. Yes, I'll be 16 in 10 months, I told her. She grinned, turned to the busy sight across the river, then focused on the vanishing sun. Isn't it amazing? Every single day a ball of fire floats near us, and yet the media doesn't talk about how a ball of fire floats near us. She sang into the wind. Sorry for not telling you the complete truth, Wendy. Sorry. That's okay. No biggie. Or, let's see what happens. Anticipation, suspense. She jumped off the bench and got closer to the water, grabbing a rock from the floor and flinging it over the surface. It skipped 3 times. Pretty good, very good, I praised. My attempt skipped twice. She glanced over at me with victory. She stared across the river. Cars went in every direction. Cop lights flashed in the distance. The restaurant next to the causeway serves amazing lobster, Wendy said. Mom takes me there on my birthdays. Real food, I said. Every word of food sends an earthquake through my stomach. Wendy stood in front of me, blocking the little bit of sunset left. All I could stare at were her eyes, her hair in the breeze. She started to build a smile. The sun was almost gone. Darkness lined our bodies, and she moved her lips closer to my face and she kissed me. My arms went around her waist. I pulled her closer to my body. We let go and blinked into each other's souls. We smiled and kissed again. She pulled back first. Don't ever lie to me again, Wendy told me. I will never lie to you. Sorry. Sometimes, I said. Then she cut me off. Come on, let's go back and have some cereal sandwiches. That's the end of that suspenseful setup. They're running out of food because they're breaking into homes to stay behind. Now, the first year I taught this with my middle school students, the bell rings and we don't get to this scene, but 3 girls in the back started to read it, and you could see their suspenseful reaction, like building, and then they read that he got the kiss, and they squealed and they celebrated. So as I'm getting ready to change classes, I see them needing to read. Does he get it or not? And it was a memorable experience to see readers react to your stuff in live time. That was a really cool experience for me.
It's a middle grade genre.
Young adult, yeah, I would say, young adult. Middle grade would be, more of a 10, 11, 12. So, 12 through 112.
Okay.
All right, so this, I believe, would be the last one out of my Twisted Summer. So the setup. In order to have suspense, there has to be something before the suspenseful scene, right? You don't start a scene without any background. Otherwise, there's no suspense. There's no anticipation. The setup. After a fatal incident, the boys have had enough of summer adventures and decide to paddle through the river and back to the mainland, where society has continued instead of the destroyed beachside. This scene is all about the unknown threatening the boys. So the whole thing is developing suspense. So the setup, we're tired of all these crazy adventures, we're starving. Let's go back to mainland where society is still thriving because beachside got destroyed. No one stayed behind after the destruction of 2 hurricanes. So Roy turned to the north and pointed at a bump of something in the water flowing at us. Get back on the board. What is that? A bump of rags and something under the rags drifted our way. We started to paddle so it did not collide with us. The darkness prevented us from being able to tell what it was. The object drifted behind us, and all of a sudden, another large object crashed into Roy, knocking him off the board. Guys, he yelled. The object remained still against Roy's surfboard. We held Roy's board in place as he refused to get back on. The object was a headless body with marks all over. Wounds and holes filled the body. Deep holes into the flesh dotted every space. What? Huh? Ill, yelled Roy. What is that? We paddled away. The object remained drifting away from us. Another collection of floating objects floated toward us. This time they were bodies with their heads. In the distance, a light on the river sped toward us. From above us, a helicopter appeared and flashed a light over us. We kept paddling toward the mainland. Yeah, and that was the last one. So this would be the third act in storytelling. So now this is where the conflict just elevated times 10. All right, so the next one is from Forces. So the premise of Forces, a teenage couple, one of them is AI, deal with a video game world controlled by a sinister AI. That's the premise. So there's a teenage couple, one of them is AI, and they're dealing with a sinister video game world controlled by artificial intelligence.
Can I ask for clarification on the AI character?
So Kensley is AI. She's artificial intelligence, but she is so well made that she's more human than not. By page 30, the reader finds out she's AI. Artificial intelligence is a bot, yeah, a robot, yeah. So the reader has no idea she's artificial intelligence until something happens on page 30. Her boyfriend does not know she's artificial intelligence until page 30. He thinks he's dating a real girl. So, Forces, they thought falling in love was normal. Everyone's supposed to be falling in love, right? So, all right, these are all suspenseful, so I didn't really need to highlight here. So this first one, they invite a friend to go into this video game world that teleports you into it. So this setup, they invite Reese, hey, come check out this video game world that it just teleports you into this crazy video game reality. So in the basement, Reese passed his hand over all the metal contraptions. All three gathered in front of the Oni Collider. That's the portal machine that you step on it and it sends you into a crazy video game world. All three gathered in front of the Oni Collider. Is this some futuristic pull-up bar? Corbin stepped on the platform. Coils lit up and Corbin was gone. Kensley grabbed Reese's hand, stepped on it, and walked right through it. Reese was frozen, looking around for Corbin. His foot stepped on the black platform and into it he vanished. At a park setting, the three teens took in the scenery. Perfect blue sky with spread out clouds, trees that should be at least 100 years old, grass so green it hits your understanding of chlorophyll. Reese kneeled and touched the grass. Where are we? What just happened? Out of nowhere, a young lady with long brown hair in a solid colored gray dress approached the teens. Hey, what's up? Corbin, Kensley, and friend. Good to see you. Henry says hello. That's a sinister AI hybrid robot. Her smile wrapped itself around all three teens. I'm Suriv. Welcome. Good to see you two. Returned. If you flip Suriv, it's virus. Virus in the book is not used like a health virus. It's really used on what if a sinister AI has a human love virus? Would they always love us forever? So Suriv is coded on be careful with her. She's coming to destroy, because you flip the name, so it's really virus. Her smile, she's AI, but they all look human. Her smile wrapped itself around all three teens. I'm Suriv. Welcome. Good to see you two return to this video game world. The couple is pressured to stay at this video game world. The reader does not know why yet. Reese stood behind Corbin. His hand went on Corbin's shoulder and carefully remained his focus on Suriv, whispering, Corbin, what was in that coffee? Chill, just wait. It's going to get good. Corbin quietly told him. Suriv waved her arm to the side and a row of Oni colliders appeared. Just walk up to any of them and decide your game. Kensley rushed to the nearest Oni collider, stared into it. She yelled, ooh, underwater adventure. My fear of the deep sea could be cured with this adventure. Kensley has no idea she's AI until deep in the book. So she thinks she's had a past, and we find out she has not, because she's a robot. Into the Oni collider she went. Reese's eyes grew in amazement. Corbin laughed. Told you, buddy. This is a video game world that her dad has created. Her dad is involved in some virtual game stuff. You wouldn't believe it if I told you. Just experience it, and we'll see each other soon. Corbin walked down to the fourth Oni collider, stared into it, mumbled to himself, nah, don't like hot places. He continued to the next Oni collider, stared into it, waved Reese over. Reese jogged toward Corbin. Corbin pointed at the hovering screen. See how it gives you a few options to choose? By pressing the option, I'm going to be sent into a video game adventure that will include weapons and shooting at dinosaurs and aliens. I mean, come on. This video game sounds one of a kind. Not to me. I don't want to get killed, Reese lamented. Don't worry, it's all fake. Pixel world. You'll be all right. Corbin pressed the option and off he went. Reese pressed the option to the right that read Dreams. Backstage at a theater, Reese wore a suit. His shoes shined to his attention. A young lady with a headset grabbed Reese by the shoulder and said, you have 5 minutes. A handful of teen girls in dresses walked toward Reese. He still did not know if they were staring at him or past him. The leader of the female group stood in front of Reese. She crossed her long arms, smiled. Can't wait to see the concert. Good luck, Reese. Reese blinked and blanked. The group of girls continued walking to the side of the stage. The same lady with the headset waved Reese over to the stage in front of a massive crowd that looked more like bodies of silhouettes in their seats. With his first step on the stage, he noticed a piano. Clapping rose and subsided. Reese took a seat and began to play the piano like an expert. His eyes closed at times throughout the first song. His swing of the upper body leaned forward with certain deep keys. After the three teens went through their own adventure, they returned to the same perfect park. Suriv grinned toward the teens. Corbin and Kensley gaped. Reese's grin looked for someone to start sharing. Reese let out, people, I was a professional piano player. It's my dream ever since I saw my first music video. Everyone clapped for me. Corbin moved toward Kensley and hugged her. He slowly released her and turned to Suriv. That was a movie. Suriv gave a weak bow toward Corbin. Good. Then you would want to stay and continue playing whenever you want. Reese placed his hand on Corbin's shoulder. Corbin, there were girls wanting my attention. And after the fifth song, it was over. And backstage, the same girls, Reese froze, straightened his spine, turned to Suriv. Hold on, I could play another concert for my fans. Suriv clasped her hands. Yes, or if you leave, you could visit and play again. But it's not the same as living in the world and allowing for the drama to create itself for a longer game. What about food? Are those same girls going to be at my next concert? And Food. What about food? Who is going to feed me? Surrey glanced at Kensley and Corbin, then brought her attention back to Reese. The cafeteria is always available. It's free. Reese jumped up and down, showcased his teeth behind the smile. Oh my, it's an early Christmas. Kensley and Corbin did not know what to say. Reese straightened up and turned to Corbin. Homeboy, I'm staying here. I could be a rock star, better than the shelter. You say nothing, I will say nothing. The two boys are staying at a foster care shelter. All right, Reese, just when you get back, don't mention my name. Don't let them know I knew where you were. Surrey stood between them with a stern posture. No, if you would prefer, you could stay here and play forever. Reese lifted his arms in victory. Sign me up. Surrey waved her right arm toward an Oni collider that instantly appeared closer to Corbin and Kensley. Both teens stepped on the platform, waved a body part over the middle, and vanished. So, the sinister video game world wants to eliminate the youth. Once you agree to stay in this video game world, they turn you into carbon. Because the future threat of artificial intelligence are humans. So they want to get rid of that future threat so they can take over. So you don't stay in a video game world forever. They turn you into carbon, you're done. So they're trying to get rid of the kids who are the future reproducers. So this is Kensley. So I asked the AI Grok, can you give me this illustration? So I copied and pasted one of the paragraphs. So this is on the page where the reader finds out she's AI. There are clues, but this is the first shot that really tells the reader, by the way, she's not a typical girl. She's an artificial intelligence robot. There's an accident, and a lot of stuff is exposed. And you're like, okay, I knew. There were like 2 or 3 clues before that scene that reveals that girl is all, circuits inside. So AI Grok did this image within, I don't know, I would say like 8 seconds. It was pretty cool.
Can I interrupt you for a minute?
Sure.
So is this book published?
Yes, it's the second book right there.
And so about that AI, whoever published that for you, did they ask you if you used AI in your book?
No, actually, so
On Amazon, he's asking that. I was just curious.
No, I used lulu.com, lulu.com. No.
I mean, it's a thing of the now.
Yes, yeah. So when I published that 2-3 years ago, I don't think AI was being used as much as it is right now. In 3 years, we all use it.
Yeah.
So no, they didn't ask. All right, so moving forward, a different scene, suspense. So these are evil AI robots, but they look hybrid, so look human and robotic. Dreyer frowned, eyebrows came down. The system would terminate us that same day. All right, so that night, it starts here where it says that night. So forget the other one. Here's the setup. That night, Kensley parked her Jeep at a carnival. Through the windshield, Corbin stared at a Ferris wheel. They entered the crowded carnival. He reached for her hand and took her to the nearest roller coaster. The clicking of the roller coaster going up began. Kensley closed her eyes and smiled. Corbin noticed and laughed. Then he wrapped his 2 hands on the safety bar. Corbin leaned a look 200 feet down. Next to the ticket booth stood Surrey, staring up at the roller coaster. So Surrey can teleport herself between the video game world and reality. They're trying to have a typical date at the carnival, but then she shows up and she's putting pressure on them to stay at the video game world. They don't want to live in the video game world, but there are evil intentions behind this pressure on the two. Corbin leaned a look 200 feet down. Next to the ticket booth stood Surrey, staring up at the roller coaster. Corbin's eyes stretched open, then looked down at the silence of the roller coaster about to take its first steep dip. Rattling down the turn, then upside down. Kensley's eyes remained closed. Corbin stared forward with his eyes checking the sides. The ride came to a whiplash of a stop. Kensley opened her eyes. Is it over? Corbin tried to stand, but the safety bars were still locked down. They lifted. Corbin leaped out of the seat. Kensley slowly got out of her seat, enjoying the smiles on other passengers. Corbin grabbed her hand, pulled her down the steps and straight to the ticket booth where he saw Suriv standing. Corbin released her hand, walked around the ticket booth in search of Suriv. She's here. I saw her from the roller coaster. Suriv approached. Kensley slammed her arms down to the side. No, you are ruining the night. We will play the game when we want. And besides, my dad does not have the game anymore. It was shipped off. Suriv, the teleporting machine, was shipped off from her garage. Suriv absorbed the teens walking in all directions. The game world will always be peaceful for you too. Stay, come back. Choose a different adventure. Corbin placed his arm across Kensley's shoulder. His palm rubbed her shoulder. Where's my friend Reese? Corbin demanded the answer with his tone. Suriv looked straight at Corbin's eyes and said, he agreed to stay. He likes it there. Come back and hang out with Reese. You really have no choice. What do you mean we have no choice? What can you do? Corbin said. In the previous scene, Reese was turned to carbon. He was killed. The reader knows that. Corbin and Kensley do not know that. Suriv directed their attention to a nearby Gravitron ride. Everyone remembers Gravitron? Spinning? All right. She turned back to Corbin. As long as you two stay together in this world, bad things will happen to good people. Suriv turned back to Gravitron. A second later, the spinning ride dropped 10 feet, completely stopped. Smoke emanated from the bottom. The gatekeeper got on his cell phone and stared in shock. Suriv took a deep breath. Stay at our game world and live in peace. Kensley stood closer to Suriv's face. We are not, and you can't make us. I'm going to call my dad and report you. You, whoever you are, you're going to get fired. Suriv's left arm raised and clenched Kensley's throat, slamming Kensley's head against the ticket booth. Suriv got deep into Kensley's eyes. Nothing will be at peace until you two join our world. Failure of the mission will not happen. Corbin pushed Suriv's body against the wall, freeing Kensley's throat. Both teens speedwalked out of the situation. Suriv turned to fade into the night.
Do we know that she's AI at this point?
No. Here's the first clue. Second clue. The first clue is a hook gets stuck on her, she does not bleed. And here's the second, more explicit clue that maybe she's not totally human. It's coming up. Kensley entered a restroom that had 4 stalls and 3 mirrors. In front of a mirror, she tilted her head and rubbed her hand where it slammed the wall. Her fingers felt something sticking out of her head. A woman walked out of a stall, approached the sink, and got a good look into Kensley's frozen in time eyes, then decided not to use the sink. From the mirror, Kensley saw a wire poking out of her head. A group of teen girls entered. Kensley shoveled hair over the wire and exited. Corbin stared at the rides. Kensley came from behind him and grabbed his hand. Let's not let her ruin this adventure, she told him. He grinned and led the way to the House of Mirrors. At the line, Corbin reached into his pocket for tickets. Do you think the Gravitron was Suriv? Did she make that thing collapse? He handed the tickets, and into the entrance they went as several reflections of people zoomed all over the mirror house. Frowns reflected off 3 mirrors. Smiles bounced off the entrance mirrors. So that's the first clue that she's AI because there's a wire poking out of her head. She's not fully convinced also that she's AI, but now she's connecting things together because there's a wire poking out of her head. So this is Wire 200. You're going to meet him in a second. He's like the main CEO of this evil video game world controlled by AI. I had Grok give me an illustration of this paragraph, and this is what he created. So the AI are hybrid, so more human with a little bit of sprinkled robotic details. So that's Wire 200 during this next scene coming up. And the AI Grok painted this in, again, like 8 seconds. But when I asked it for other scenes, it was not that consistent. When I had actual action scenes, it was not doing a very good job. It was horrible. Still scenes, it's making them quickly. But when I had certain running scenes, it was a mess.
So when you make the running scenes, is it motion
Yeah, so when I copy and pasted motion, forget it. This AI was distorting a regular image. The characters were all over the place. Physical details, it has done an amazing job. Grok, Grok. So here's Wire 200, the CEO of this evil video game world controlled by AI. Suri remains staring at the screen. So Wire 200 is her boss. Wire 200 closed the small handheld screen in his hands. Wire 200 threw back his shoulders and grinded his metallic one-strip teeth over each other. Forget about bringing them in, explain, Suri said. Wire 200 pounded his metal fist on its surface, not visible through the screen. His voice became low and slow. The youth, our last threat, with their entitlements, or they cry in the streets for free stuff. He yelled, kill them, destroy Kensley, and if Corbin faces the same fate, then so be it. We don't want them. Terminate them or we will terminate you. This is your new assignment. His torso tilted 3 times to the side. His shoulders drew back and his voice settled. With less kids being produced in this world, it should become easier to eliminate future reproducers. Surif, take them out, the youth. Why would we need them anymore? We are making our own hybrid drones, hybrids that listen and not question what we put out in society. The youth, they don't value hard work. They no longer experience the real world. Screen time, screen time, screen time. We will give them screen time, all right? They listen to whatever is on a screen. So the reason why they want to destroy that couple is because Kensley has fallen in love with a human, which means now all the AI algorithms have love for humans. If AI wants to take over the world in the future, they cannot love us. So they have to break up that relationship, but she's in love with a human. So all the algorithms right now are like, all right, humans are pretty cool. We can love them. But that will slow down the takeover of the world. All right, that was it for forces. So the last 2, these are illustrated children's series.
You discuss your books with your students, obviously you teach on them.
Yes, so I have used Forces and My Twisted Summer with my students. The first year I used My Twisted Summer, it was the #1 stolen book from the library. So 8 copies of My Twisted Summer were not returned. They were kept. That was the first year that I used it at.
Parent, I'd be afraid that you give them an idea to stay behind in a hurricane. I mean, I'm sure they got it. They loved it. I can see it from their point of view. Yeah.
And I had a student write a critical analysis on forces, and I have it, it's a 4-page analysis when I was only requiring 2 paragraphs. This 13-year-old student, a female student, understood the meaning of love is beyond, the physical appearance and how Kensley becomes more human because she loves. It was a fascinating 4-page critical analysis that blew my mind when she read it. I'm like, all right, 2 paragraphs, critical analysis. And she gives me 4 pages. It's impressive what she saw in the book. So this first illustrated children's book is titled See You, An Adventure Against Ocean Pollution. So here's the main character with his mom, and then there's the threat of pollution. So this is the first scene I'm sharing with you regarding suspense. We're going to be anticipating what happens. So there's C with his friend Hook the Shark sending a text message. You're about to read this scene. And I'll show you the name of the artist at the end. So, C paused. My mom keeps feeding me algae and small fish, so Hook the shark stood firmly into C. How difficult can it be to catch algae? They don't move, just grow on stuff. Your dad is fast, the fastest today, so you must be able to catch your own fish. The text message. Deep into that night, Hook hovered over C's shell while C texted into his phone. Quote, I love you, Mom and Dad. Now that I am almost 5, I need to explore the ocean and become a real sea turtle. I'm going on a long swim. Hook will keep me safe from other sharks or fishing nets. He said he has learned to bite through fishing nets. So I should be okay when a fishing net falls from out of the sky and traps me. From this scene, the adventures begin. Suspense. If the two would be fine. All right, so pages later, there's a dolphin in the group. They have met up with a dolphin friend. So, suspense. What's going to happen? After half an hour of hunting for the first time in the wild ocean, Dolphy, the dolphin, began to return to where Hook and C slept. Her stomach was full. Every inch of the gut digested pieces of small fish. Every once in a while, her smile would burp. C slept on the ocean floor, next to a growth of several plants. Hook floated in every direction near C. Dolphy swooped into the resting spot. Hook straightened and glanced around, noticing C stretching into being awake. Both friends looked at Dolphy. They glided in front of Dolphy. C reached for her tail. Girl, look at this. You are in a different world. You need to be aware of floating ropes. Dolphy escaped from an aquarium. So this is the first time this dolphin is hunting for herself. This is a reference. You are in a different world. You're no longer locked in a tank. Her smile looked at the rope wrapped around its tail. Hook bit into a large plastic bag around her neck and shook it off, letting it float away in 4 pieces. He then made his way to the rope around her tail, Fluke, and started to bite into it. There's the scene. So are they going to help her? Is she going to be stuck with rope tied around her tail? So the reader now waits and anticipates, how do they help her with this pollution? All of the adventures in both children's books focus on threats from pollution. So they struggle, and then they survive. Or do they? Anticipation. All right, so the artist is named Anouk Jorda. So first time I team up with anyone for a project. So she's the artist. It was very fun to work with her. She's a very well-known artist in Brevard County, Anouk Jorda. And then the last one, this is part 2.
Were you at the Children's Book Festival?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. She has her art at the Melbourne Airport, Lexus dealership. She's the featured artist every other Friday at a Urban Prime restaurant. And she just applied to be the director for Brevard Art Alliance, Art Cultural Alliance, something like that. So, same concept, adventures against beach pollution. So I went from the ocean pollution to now beach pollution. So this is called See You at the Shoreline. This is the front cover. The dad talking to the group regarding we're under threat because of pollution. So, all right, we start here. His smile made her smile. Debbie Claus. These are crabs. So, Debbie Claus, I'll love you more every day. And not just because you're a good cook, he told her. 2 bites into it, Frank the Pelican, flapping his wings, hopped in front of Commander Claus. Sir, and his best friend, the hermit crab. They're inside a bottle and a soda can. Claus crawled onto Frank's back and they took off. And there's the illustration. So a reference to his son and his son's friend, a hermit crab. They're stuck inside a bottle and a soda can. So the reader anticipates what's going to happen. How are they saved? How do they get out? How bad are they stuck in there? So here's the flying scene. Pages later, many pages later. So here is his son and his son's friend, the seagull. At night, they go to eat. And there's a storm brewing. So 1 hour later, the storm landed on the beach. The waves doubled in size, sand moved in all directions, trees danced the entire time. The entrance to Commander Claus's room for the night, because they're crabs, they move around all the time, right? Room for the night got covered with sand. A few sea grape leaves also covered the entrance to his room. Commander Claus and his wife slept through the storm. At sunrise, Commander Claus's entrance to his room was covered with a mountain of stuff. More sand, more sea grape leaves, 2 straws that made an X. And next to his crab hole was a mountain of old shoes that had been in the ocean for years. Tiny binoculars poked out of his entrance. They looked left toward the ocean, then looked right toward an upside-down umbrella that was half torn by the wind. In the umbrella that was full of water, 5 baby crabs slid down it and into the puddle of water, laughing, their claws up as they slid down. Mrs. Claus dug out of the hole. Commander Claus followed. He looked around through the binoculars at the storm's debris. He made his way 20 feet behind his hole, crawling over 2 crumbled paper cups, a half piece of some plastic, around a large polyester blanket wrapped around things. Sand held the blanket in place. At a mound of sand, he started digging in, and in a few seconds, a hole revealed itself, and he yelled into it, "Son, come on out. You slept through a storm." Mom saved a few pieces of sand fleas, but the reader knows he stayed up all night with his friend at the beach eating. But Dad thinks he was at home. 2 pages later, Commander Claus spun the binoculars around his shell. It grabbed everyone's attention. "We've been hit by a storm. Some of you slept through it. We did a great job a month ago when that windstorm hit us for 2 days. We saved many. Many were saved, but many were not alive. Last night, it was the same strength of winds, but the rain has compacted the sand. So there are a lot of our brothers and sisters stuck under all that sand. Same team as before. I go south with half of you. The other half goes north." And Windcatcher, the seagull, flew into the scene. He's the one who was with his son the previous day. Commander Claus took a step back. Windcatcher had his feathers in a mess. Commander Claus, "So sorry to interrupt. I know. The rescue team is getting ready to act, but last night, and we've done this many times, after you fall asleep, See now," his son who's a crab, "See now and I we always go eating on the beach at night. Last night the storm hit out of nowhere. We fell asleep with our stomachs full, and I woke up a block down the beach. I checked, but See now is not there. Piles of sand everywhere. I'm not sure if he's under one. We need to act." Commander Claus stabbed the sand with every claw, and with his right claw he pointed south. "You are my taxi. Let's fly in rescue formation." And then the reader anticipates, all right, did his son die? What happens? How do they rescue him? And then same artist, and that's it. Thank you for your time, everyone. Thank you. Let me shut off my camera here.
Does anybody have any questions?